good. Okay. Welcome to the governance call. It is the 10th of April. We'll get started with some check-ins. You guys know the drill. Tell me how you're feeling, your focus for the week, and your intentions for this call. I'm feeling great. Went bowling with some Givethers yesterday. Focus for the week is going to be subdalification, Giveth Pro, PFP integration, Twitter praise, and probably some more stuff I can't remember. Oh yeah, getting money from optimism. Intention for the call is to go over our subdalification plan for Wednesday and making some changes to the multisig. To our multisig. And I will pass it on to Griff.
Yeah, I'm excited. That's a lot of great topics. It's hard to beat any of those. My focus for the week is fundraising. I'm feeling really great. And intentions for the call, all those things that Mitch said, there's a lot. And I'll be distracted by me getting ready for the fundraising call after this. And I'll pass over to Lauren.
Thanks, Chris. My focus for the week is getting their Gitcoin grant updated and making a QF spec so that Mo can start design, and then just like also specking out the optimism give power thing and all the coordination there, plus Twitter and the regular comms noise. And my intentions for the call are just to sink in on the subdalification and not really too much else other than that. I just, I love hanging out on this call. It's like the Mitch show, and I get to learn all kinds of cool things going on. And I will pass it on to Corey.
Hey, thanks. I'm feeling pretty good. My focus of the week is for sure making sure we have the Gitcoin grant ready to go, since that's due in 7 days, the latest. And also organizing some outreach efforts around our recent launches to promote the referral program and other things. Otherwise, prepping things for Twitter and catching up on the rest on the board right now. I'm a little bit distracted by some background work, but otherwise my intention for the call is just to make sure I'm synced up on governance things. I don't have anything specific right now. I will pass it to Monique. Or Santi.
Oh, I muted myself. That's cool.
Thank you, Corey. GM, everyone. Focus for the week is NFT research and the projects map. And intentions for the call is subdalification and Barcelona, ETH Barcelona, and the rest of topics. And I'll pass it to Freshel.
Thank you. I'm feeling great. And my focus for this week is to finalize the March working group cost, accounting stuff, and making sure everyone has their time reports. And also working on the reimbursement for the month of March. And intentions for this call is to discuss more on the subdalification and listen and participate. And I'll pass it to Mo.
Thanks. Hello, everyone. My focus. Sorry. I'm feeling good. Feeling great. My focus this week is the wrapping up the detailed project, create project form, and lots of open issues related to the project, and trying to find what I have to do next. intention for this call, just sync up with everyone. I pass it to Monik. Did you go?
Hey everyone. Thank you, Mo. I'm feeling sad because of the internet service providers here in my country, and my focus for this week is just to do lots of things about the plannings for the next quarter. I guess we have to gather all the epics, doing a better release plan, more organized, and even thinking about changing the way that we manage the team. And also, my focus for this call just to listen, try to get myself more engaged in the issues. And I'm not distracted. And I pass it to Nico.
Thank you. I'm feeling good. I'm okay, and yeah, my focus for the week will be buddy calls, and also with Giveth Coda, and also contributor support. And my intention for this, I have no distractions right now. My intention for the call is, to be more involved and to listen. Yeah. Passing it to Ashley. Have you gone?
Ashley?
Yep, I'm here.
Yes.
Found it. Thanks, Nico. I am feeling Monday for sure, just checking email, getting my priorities in order, catching up on what happened over the weekend. I've got a lot of things going on in the background. My focus for this week in governance is sub-DAOification, obviously. I've got some quantification to do, follow up on ETH Barcelona, buddy calls. I had one, I've got some more in the line. I think that's mostly it. And intentions for the call is just to stream and stay in the loop with things. I know there's probably some stuff that I'm missing, so it'll help me hear about it today so I can get it on my list for this week. And I will pass it over to Franco.
Thank you, Ash. I'm feeling good today, very good, with a little bit of muscle pain from kayaking yesterday with Griff and Lauren. My focus this week will be praise distribution and the praise Twitter, a lot of praise, and AI, definitely. Intentions for the call, listening more about the sub-DAOification and Ethereum Barcelona, obviously. And I'll pass it to Suga.
Thanks, Franco. Hi, everybody. My intention for the week, I would love to get working on the SEO landing pages. I'd love to make some headway on that. And, I know I should have written everything down. Bit distracted today. It's a holiday here in France, so I've got the kids. I guess I would have the kids anyway at this time of the day, but it's a bit more complicated. Yeah, so also I have a buddy call this week, so if anybody has a few minutes to spare, I think a lot of buddy calls are going on this week. So I'm just going to drop the type form in the channel just so y'all have it on hand. If you want to give some feedback for anybody, including myself, that'd be awesome. Governance this week, of course, for the call, catching up on that very helpful post of Mitch's earlier today, and all those different topics going on, like sub-DAOification and the works. And I know I'm forgetting something, but that's okay. I will pass it to Jake.
Yep. Let's see. Feeling a little bit of the rainy Mondays here. April showers for sure. Let's see. So for this week, we got outreach fundraising, some biz dev with Griff. So I'll call it Grizz Dev. And what are my intentions? Just listening to the 1 hour sitcom that we call Mixed Show. Let's pass it on to Greechies.
GM, I'm happy because I'm back to my normality, so I'm feeling good. I'm happy too about Giveth, like the fundraising results. And I have some brief tasks to do, and my intention for this call is like follow up what is happening with Giveth. And I will pass it to Clara.
Thanks, Bridges. Hi, everyone. I'm feeling good, and my focus for governance this week is sub-DAOing, budget session later this week, rewards working group proposal, got some quantification to do. Intention for the call is make sure I haven't missed anything in the forum voting, East Barcelona, sub-DAOing. And I'm excited this week because I've started playing with AI, and I found it a bit daunting to start off with, but now it's really cool. So thanks, Griff, for giving us the opportunity to do that this month. And I think I might be the last one, so I'm passing back to you, Mitch.
No, I think we still are missing a few. Let's hear from Kotabe.
Sorry, guys.
Jim. I'll try to make it quick. I'm feeling really good. My focus for this week is podcast in Spanish, supporting the ambassador program, a few other things. And my intention for the call is to sync up. And I'll pass it to, let's see, Almond.
Thank you, Kotabe. I'm feeling good. My intentions for this week is to kick off the ambassador program. What's missing with the GM podcast, and I need to answer a call because I need to pick up some groceries downstairs. Sorry, Mitch. Back to you.
Sure, let's hear from Kai.
GM, I'm not distracted, and ready to listen in, see what's up in governance. My focus for this week is there's one proposal open with a multi-sig transaction. I hope that goes through, then I can move forward with a bounty multi-sig. Another thing is that might be of interest to the community. I'm trying to schedule a call with Gateway FM. They are providers of RPC nodes, and this was kind of like a chance encounter while fixing something. And they might be able to give us a lot of infrastructure pretty cheap. If anyone wants to be part of that, please DM me. Otherwise, maintenance stuff on our DevOps issue board, Kubernetes training. And I think I was the last one again. I'm sorry, back to you, Mitch. I hope this time for real.
All good. I had a furious sneeze, so that was good. Okay, so lots of great things in the check-in. We'll jump right into it here. My first thing here I have is switching up some of the multi-sig signers. So don't take this personally, anybody, but I was getting frustrated from having to DM lots of people to sign stuff. So I went through the list. I checked all of our transactions basically since the hack in October. And these were the people that were the least active. And I reached out to a few people who have been active very often, and I would like to propose switching up some of our multi-sig signers just so we can get stuff done at least within 24 hours without DMs. So these are my proposed changes. I talked to all of the people involved. They said, okay. Actually, Bowen didn't get back to me at all, but if he can't get back to me in 72 hours, that's probably, that's a thing. So I'm just going to leave it there. If anybody has anything they would like to say, let's go ahead. Otherwise, I'll set it up after this call. And so just to be clear, that's going to be for Giveth main, Giveth liquidity on Gnosis chain and mainnet. Those are 4 main multi-sigs that we kind of need to be for.
So you only want to change it for those 4? You don't want to change it for all the other ones?
I mean, there's the bounty one. I don't usually interact with. Go ahead, Lauren.
And donation.eth. Yeah. Go ahead, Mitch.
Yeah. I don't do a lot with donation.eth. I don't think we generally do much with it. So it's not as big a problem, but we could change it for donation.eth as well.
And we're about to have a deployment on Optimism and a deployment on Cello. So we might consider putting it there because those would be time sensitive transactions if there's something happening.
Yeah. Honestly, wherever this Giveth main is, it should be the same set of people.
Okay.
So that'll be then Cello, Optimism, and Polygon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Any questions? Donation.eth exists on all of these chains as well, right? I'm assuming.
I don't think it can, and it will. It should. I don't think. Is it collecting funds on Polygon? I don't think anyone set it up to do that. So,
Polygon, Cello, and Optimism. Okay. Just when I'm doing, I can just check all this stuff at the same time and then just set it up.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Then I'm going to do that after this call if there's no objections.
Is there anyone else that wants off? Just like, since if you're in this call and you don't want to be on the multi-sig anymore, like, raise your hand and we can take you off.
Everyone else,
I have to say sorry because I usually miss the notifications for this multi-sigs, and I have to apologize all of the signers which get flagged by me. However, I think after these apologies, I have to say, okay, it's the time to remove me. If you think.
That's fine. And maybe it's just a bandwidth thing, or maybe it's a time zone thing, like it's not really like, I'm not trying to shame anybody. It's just like, maybe the time zone isn't compatible, Things are happening in Europe or in the Americas, and it's just like, maybe it doesn't work. Anyway, that's not my intention at all. It's just like, want people. Anyway, let's leave it at that. So I'll make those changes then, and we don't need to linger too long on this topic. But thanks for bringing up the stuff about all the other L2 chains. That's important. Some stuff down in here, going into some stuff in our DAOs. I think I maybe mentioned this one. Maybe you guys signed it here. This is going to send 300,000 give into our bug bounty multi-sig. And Kai will cover the forum post a little bit further down in this call. So that's up there to sign in Giveth liquidity on Ethereum mainnet, and it's just missing one more to go through. And snapshot, we're all good. Give Garden, not much to tell you there. In the NR Give DAO, we still have quite a few people that have their token requests up. And there's a couple that are actually set to fail if they don't get some votes in the next hour. So if you're on this call right now, I would encourage you to go there. We have Claire asking for some tokens. Griff is set to fail by just about 0.8% there. The will of the DAO. But anyway, please go ahead in there and vote if you've got NR Give tokens. And if you still haven't made your request, that's going to be up until the 3rd of May. So make sure that you get that in time. because you won't be able to claim it retroactively. I'll just drop the link right here in the chat. So if you need the link, it's there in the chat. Go ahead and please vote in there. And then things to vote on, I think that's it. That one thing in the multi-sig, and then the Energive token requests. Unless Ashley snuck up a givebacks in the meantime, but I don't think she did. Okay. Cool. Great. Yeah, she says, watch out. Some stuff in the forum here from many of your check-ins asking about the sub-dolification. I'm going to go over this post here. This is a big one. So we are having our session coming up on April 12th at 11 a.m. Mexico time. And I think that's an hour after the comms call ends, or like, no, 2 hours after the Give Economy Development call ends. So you can find it on the calendar. I was listening to a lot of people's concerns about like, okay, how do we, if we have like a bazillion different working groups, like how do we whittle this list down? And I was taking a lot of thought into that. And so I proposed maybe a sort of like scoring methodology that we could use to kind of be able to evaluate things a bit more logically. So basically we'll use like a scoring metric on like certain key points that are like relevant to like the working group proposal format. So if it'll get a score, and if it's above like a certain score, then it says, yes, this should definitely be a working group. And if it's below the minimum score, then it's like that working group as is should not be a working group. So maybe it needs to change, maybe it needs to merge with other working groups, or maybe it needs to like join a larger one and be a part of that. And so maybe this is like a way that people can go on their own and like figure out how to group these things. So it's not like we have a bazillion different working groups that all require proposals, but like how we can logically like merge them together and make like groupings of tasks or like projects that make sense when they're all together in like one place. So we'll take a stab at it. I haven't seen anybody try this before, so we'll see how it goes. I broke this down into a couple of different categories. So the first one would be roles and teams, answering some questions like, does it have a leader? Is there already somebody who's kind of like leading this project or this program? Are there specific people who only work on it? Like, can you define what the team is, or is the team sort of ambiguous? Does the leadership in the team overlap with the working group that already exists? Okay, so working group will be like, again, our theoretical list of projects, products, programs, groupings of tasks that we either are emerging or that already exist. So obviously, if they overlap, then we need to deal with that, and that's kind of, I tried to reflect that in the scoring metric as well. The next section is goals and deliverables. What are your high-level goals? Again, looking at feedback that we got during our session last time. Goals right now, it's like, does it bring revenue to Giveth? Does it bring donors, donations, or projects to the platform? Does it turn nonprofits into microeconomies? But then do the high-level goals overlap with another working group, And then so it's like, maybe yes to all those things, but it's the same yes for like another working group, then we kind of have to deal with that as well. Deliverables, that's another thing. It's like, do you have a way to measure its success or like the intended outcomes? So just like some stuff relating to that. And again, like asking if there's any overlap with another working group. The last one here is duration and budget. The biggest thing is like, will this thing be expensive? So if it's going to spend over 12% of the max budget, then it's like we should probably have that somewhere. It should probably be a working group. So we can keep track of those expenses. And then the last one is if it has an end date. So if it's going to keep going forever, then we should probably keep track of it, and that's kind of it. Based on this metric here, like, again, I'm doing my best here, but maybe we'll have to adjust it, as we like start plugging things into the system. But what I would suggest here is like the highest possible score. So if you got everything and you're like +1 and you didn't get any deductions, it would be 16 for a working group, and the lowest score would be -7. And I'm saying here, we'll try it out. If a working group gets a score of 7 or higher, then it would be a yes, meaning we put in the yes pile. And if it's below 7, then we put it in the no pile, and then we deal with it later. So then that would be sorting this list out. We try and like apply different methods to it on the no pile. We try and group all the no's into like a larger working group that makes sense, and then try the methodology on it again and see if it passes. Or we put like a smaller no group under a larger yes group, and then try and attribute it there. I did some looking around. I was digging around on DAOs that are kind of the same size and scope, like Shapeshift, Gitcoin, Aragon. People are kind of doing it like us, or how we want to be. And they generally hover around 4 to 8 working groups. So I think that's a lot less than the 17 that we have right now. I'm going to stop here before I go into the rants. But generally what I would like to do with this is if we could pick, ideally right now, like find like 6 working groups that we could try to like experiment with this on during our session. So like if we could bring minimum 6 working groups to our session on Wednesday and like split off into breakout rooms and like try and apply this methodology and see if it actually works, that would be great. And we just need some stuff, obviously, to make it work. Like we need working groups that we want to try. For those working groups, we need a very rough, we can be rough, What's the team? What's the budget? What would the high level goals be? What would be some theoretical metrics that we would use as like deliverables or return on investment? Things like that. I'm up to working one-on-one with people. I'm hoping I can get some support for Shell and Claire this week to just have everything ready for Wednesday. I'm going to stop talking there and let everyone else talk. If anyone has any like opinions or concerns on trying this out, or if something doesn't make sense.
I just want to say thank you, because I know you've had to put a lot of thought and work into doing this, Mitch, and so this is really great, and it's really hard to figure out where to start and where to end, so thanks so much for the time that you've spent so far and experimenting with all of these new things, and I'm down to help as much as I can.
Awesome. Great. I really appreciate the enthusiasm to like get Communitas there. That's really great to see. I don't like all this silence, though. You guys must have something else to say. I don't know.
Thank you, Mitch. So awesome. I'm still not like 100% convinced, but I'm getting like, signs from left and right to make actually the whole admin thing, DevOps security, a working group. My only gripe is that none of the goals for Giveth are part of it, because, this is infrastructure. So it's not, it doesn't bring revenue. It doesn't bring more donors. On the other hand, it is very small and manageable. So it's a great test group, and I'll bring it if there is still space. And I have availability on Wednesday. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. If you feel like, yes, this should be a working group, it's like, I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't do it. like that. It's like if you want to do it, it's like here, but like this is the metrics, because I mean people like Monique or Lauren or Ashley who have these working groups and they have all these could be products or could be projects like underneath them, then it's like how do they deal with that conundrum? And so it's like, okay, try this out, maybe this will help you. But I don't think I'm like trying to impose any like hard rules saying that like, no, you cannot be a working group, but like this should help out the people who are confused about the process.
Yes, definitely. I'll also run through the motions and see what score we actually come up with. So,
yes, Monique.
Usually in products teams, they have a row of cost and it's DevOps, and usually they go contract with other teams to manage their servers, manage their releases, taking care about everything, So as a service, I think you can provide lots of value to the team, even for other teams outside of the Giveth. So it definitely can be a service working group. But I think all of you know my opinions about making the service working group rather than a business working group. So I feel we all the circles that we have right now can be a service working group. So for example, we can set up a devs and design, everything, test. DevOps, everything, but these are, going to be service working groups that serves the others by contract, and it works. But, I'm not a fan of it. I think if we want to boost this sub-qualification, we have to take a look at the boundaries of a business inside our team. So we have to find the business lines that we can make revenue out of it, and we have all the professions inside in a team. So rather than having groups with the same professions, we have to have agile groups that can do A to Z of all the tasks, from marketing, from design, from dev to delivering, from PMing, everything. So this is what's agile is saying, that have the teams that can do check, go forward, meet the goal, and they find out that they have to fail or change the way that they're operating. So the operation also can be included in a team. I'm a fan of this structure, but definitely those can be a working group, service working group.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So just to get it there, it's like DevOps is like a service that all of these product working groups will need within their work.
Yes, and thanks, Monique, for that great insight. Like I got a few ideas from that, but I want to leave the space for other working groups also now.
Okay. We got 23 minutes. I want to just get real quickly. I'm gonna switch back here. If we could decide, this is ambitious. If we can decide right now, let's throw out some ideas that we can try this out on Wednesday, because otherwise I have to chase people down outside of this call. 6 working groups, minimum 6 that we can try this out on. Keeping in mind, we'll be in breakout groups. We'll work in small groups that are relevant. We'll try this out on during our call Wednesday. So I hear from Ashley that Communitas would be one that we could. Does that make sense to people, or am I getting too far ahead?
Go far, go long.
So Communitas. What else?
I think the rewards working group is probably at that stage, but I'm not sure it fits into your scoring criteria.
Well, let's try it out.
Just testing it.
The scoring's broken, we'll fix it.
Obviously the DAP. like
Okay.
donation application.
Yep.
I can rally the people from fundraising.
Great. I want to try out GiveFi. See if GiveFi is a thing or not.
Mitch, are you saying 6 maximum?
Minimum 6. Minimum 6.
Add DevOps, please.
Minimum.
Okay. Anything else from like comms, community, that other side? Or
Yeah,
Lauren, you got
comms.
something?
Comms.
I mean, I think I can create one for, just by Wednesday to put a bunch of stuff together. I'm like, I don't know. But I think Give Economy. What?
Well, someone will work with you. Somebody will help you get everything you need.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was thinking probably it would make sense to like have the Give Economy working group be a Give Economy working group, just so we don't have to create so many proposals over and over again. Anyway.
Somebody else was going to say something.
Mitch, can I interrupt? I know that you're doing a good job right now for summarizing, but I just want to ask you please to share what I sent right now in the chat box. I think it's going to be a year before that when we talk about the circle and the groups. I'd please share it. Yeah. I forward two charts here.
I'm sorry. I'm in the middle of something else, so I'm not going to actually change and go back to this chart right now.
Okay.
So somebody was saying something from comms, actually. And I missed that. Something from the comms or Communitas side?
Yeah, it was me. So I just yelled out comms.
Comms.
Yep.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8. That's ambitious. Okay. Well, let's leave it there. Unless somebody has something they really want to include.
Yeah, we want to do all of this in one call on Wednesday.
At least 6, and we'll work in small groups. So maybe it's like one group just does like 2.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm also obviously from the comm side, it would be interesting to go through it, but I think there's more obvious examples to start with first. So I'm just wondering, what's more.
Yeah, totally, Corey. I was just yelling it out. I didn't mean to be included.
Yeah. Tell me what you think, Corey.
Yeah, I mean, I just think as a first exercise, I think there's other groups that are more obvious. I think we talked about comms is a little bit complicated because it's almost like a shared service across the entire org. On the other hand, if it makes sense that we start with it right away on Wednesday alongside the others, let's do it. But that's just my concern. I'm curious to see how some of the other examples work out first.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If anyone else has any thoughts on that.
We have more than the minimum, so we can leave it out if it's too complex. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to go back. Okay, Monique, what were you trying to tell us about?
Everyone can see the links that I shared right now. This is a good article. We can find that what's the meaning of the agile teams and what's the difference between the, old hierarchy things and what's the difference between the agile teams and the old teams. So you can find it out that the agile teams have to make decisions based on different professions and skills and, find revenue for themselves. So this architecture that we're, finding out is the same thing that we had already started by, different circles. I remember when we want to define the circles and the working group, I disagreed. And after, I think, more than 1 year, we want to pursue about making the business lines more efficient and redefine the teams. So I think it's worth it that we take a look again at the meaning of the agile. So the agile teams should have as you bring in your documentations, they should have a goal. They should have cost. They should have a leader. But we can define service-based teams, but they're not going to be agile. For example, everyone should seek, for example, DevWorks. For example, if me as a product owner should, have a contract with the DevOps, me as a PM should have a contract with the comms to do marketing for myself. So I think it's not agile. I'm going to have multiple contracts with multiple teams in the same organization. But we can have lots of these skills inside the team. That's the idea.
I think that's what we're talking about. Like a complete package of all the skills that are needed inside of a working group to deliver something,
Exactly.
But it gets a bit tricky when we start saying that they need to have revenue models, they need to be profitable, because I don't think that applies to a lot of the work that Giveth does, or like the primary focus. Profit could be delivered in other forms, like profit could be new projects on the platform or donations accrued, but it's not like we can look at it more abstract like that. But I think what I hear from other people, it's like not all the working groups should strive to be profitable in like a monetary sense, but there's going to be ones that are, What are you going to say, Greg?
Yeah, we have lots of different working groups inside even a company that some of them are not profitable. I got your point, but the team formation is around the certain value. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Griff?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that focusing on products is a better solution. And like the DApp needs, for instance, the DApp needs Communitas, like Communitas can be its own product if that's the way we end up going. I'm not like against it, but for the DApp to be successful, it needs the Communitas team. So I would think that it would be more like, okay, here's the DApp team, and part of the DApp team needs these people to do the project verification, to just support the nonprofits on the DApp, to XYZ, right? So like a lot of those groups that were put up there were kind of like repeats of circles that we already have, and I don't know, it just seems kind of, again, not the point. The point is to figure out what products we're working on, and then to build teams around those products and allow other products to emerge. So like DevOps fundraising, is rewards a product? I feel like rewards is part of, like, Give Economy is really the Give token as a product, and maybe there's some crossover between the DApp and Give token, like I feel like that's just that's more aligned with what I thought the direction was going, and what Monique is approaching is this like we're trying not to repeat circles. We're trying to allow circles to emerge within products as opposed to products to emerge within circles.
Mm-hmm. But I think if you put the DApp as like a product, it would be basically everything, it would be kind of monolithic.
Yeah, well, maybe it's the donation side of the application, right? And it's like making sure the donations are flowing, coming in, projects are signing up, and that's like one side. And then, yeah, of course, a lot of pieces build off of that, right? But like Give Power is sort of a product that builds on top of the DApp product. And the Give token is a product that kind of builds on top of give the DApp product and give power builds on that, and Giveth, is on the side of that too, and they are different. They're features of the DApp, you could frame it that way, but I think they're also different products.
One thing that we talked about in our last community building call on Tuesday was just trying to come up with a list of the products within the Communitas group that some of our members are working on or leading or something like that. And I plan to bring that list of products to this call on Wednesday. And maybe other working group leaders could also maybe look at the different products that are currently contained within their circle or working group that they have now and look at what makes sense to break out into an individual product working group and what makes sense to keep as an initiative within that circle. Like, for instance, in community, we've got this ambassador program. Is this a product that should be broken out into its own thing? Or is it an initiative that, Communitas continues to work on? But maybe coming to this call with the list of products that we are involved with as a working group would help us at least get a visual on how we can break these different things apart into groups based around products. The other thing that comes up for me is, all of these products breaking out, they're all going to need somebody on comms, but if we don't have a comms working group, how do all our comms contributors stay aligned? How do we stay, focused on the greater voice of Giveth? If each product has its own designer, how do those designers stay aligned with the brand of Giveth? So it's like, yeah, we need a person of each of these places in each product, but how do we keep those people aligned on our greater overarching stuff?
Can I say?
Yeah.
They have names in Agile. They call it chapter leads. So chapter leads acts as a kind of vertical between the different groups. For example, in a company, they can be, for example, assume Uber. Uber had lots of business lines, but one application. So they have a project manager for the drivers, and they have project manager for the travelers. So, and they goal are totally different, but they act in the same application. So I think we as a platform can have the same structure. For example, I think somebody can be product manager of the projects. Somebody can be the product manager of the donors. We have these values, but if and all of them can have the comms members in their team, and we can have a kind of roles that call it can lead it. We call it chapter manager. We can search for it in Agile. Chapter manager. Chapter manager usually lead the chapter of the same skills. For example, in Uber, we have chapter manager for the backend, but they just guide people. They do not manage people directly.
Okay. Well, I feel thoroughly confused now from Griff's comment.
Can I just one more thing before we proceed and wrap this up? So, the way I imagined what the flow of our meeting will be on Wednesday will be the way I thought it would be is to really outline all the possible working groups that we foresee to submit their working group proposals, and then there would be a general categorization of product working groups and the shared services or the essential working groups, and then that's the way I thought it would be. And then maybe we could use the methodology that you proposed, Mitch, through this, and then the takeaway that I would expect in the hack session on Wednesday would be to identify the working groups that we have, and if they are a product or they are a shared service or an essential working group.
And the thing that I have trouble with, because I'm imagining this for a budgeting process, right? And if they're an essential working group and we can't vote no on them, then we shouldn't be voting for them to send money to them. Like if Communitas is a working group and it's not doing a good job, we can't turn it off. Like it doesn't work. We can't just say, no, we don't need Communitas anymore, but we can turn off products if they're not working. And that's why if we're sending a budget somewhere, we need to be able to say no. And that's why I wouldn't want Communitas or the rewards working group or something like that, and maybe even a give token. I don't know. It's a weird situation, but it's tough in a DAO, like to have these kinds of working groups, because then you don't really, as a DAO, you don't really have a vote. But we turned off Giveth Trace, for instance.
It might be hard to turn something off, but if we have sub DAOs and we see like something is wrong with Communitas, maybe it would be easier to reform while leaving other things the same. Just a point.
It just seems like it'd be a lot easier if Communitas was in demand from these other products that we're building, right? And that there was like, oh no, the DApp needs Communitas who's going to verify projects, right? And so they get their funding from these products.
It's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah.
I definitely agree with that approach. That seems to make more sense, because if you're looking at potential, we're looking for revenue and just from a financial perspective, it has to be more based not on what, anyway, and I need to repeat Griff. I just think that's a good approach.
Okay. And we couldn't turn off the DApp in that sense. If the DApp was a working group, would we vote to turn it off?
We turned off Trace.
That's right.
I'm also just thinking, like, even because we were looking at comms, like having a bit more, if we could amp up a bit the focus or resources around like growth marketing or, and that's, or like strategic growth. And this is almost something that's just like even tying that to individual products, like those efforts, it's more of an overarching role, or it kind of just, I don't know. I'm just trying to think about like how that would work, or would we have a designation for, I just think of it as like shared services where it sort of impacts everything. I see that on the Communitas side in some sense. I see it in comms. And then you also, of course, you could attribute like individual efforts to like certain projects or products, but maybe not everything. There's some like in between work as well. I'm not sure if you can just split everything up into products. That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure how that would be handled.
Well, in those cases, I would say that the products have to pay. If it's really so collectivized, then maybe the products need to pay sort of a tax, right, to that group. But the funding should be coming in through products. And if there's no products focus, then like, I don't know. I feel like we're not shifting, or we're not. Well, I guess like it's okay if there's still a community group or like a comms group that's still doing comms work collectively, but they should be getting their funding from projects that are using their services, And if
okay, I see. Okay,
sorry, Corey, go ahead.
And just to clarify, like basically you have like pools accumulating. Maybe there's like an X% that's paid out by projects. And then from that pool, that's like funding the overhead of like those shared services. Yeah, that's interesting. Sorry, go ahead, Suga.
Sorry. I just have a quick comment or question or something. So the speculating that we're doing, I wanted to say this earlier. I appreciate the research you did, Mitch, on looking at other DAOs, because honestly, I'm wondering, and I think obviously Griff knows about this too, like, well, what are the success? I know it's all new, but there are models that are working better than others, right? So it seems like we're doing a lot of slightly random speculating based on preferences in this. And really the question is, what works?
Well, it's the business model of the product, which are
right.
vastly different than each other. None of them are a donation platform for crypto, you know?
No, I know. It's uncharted waters for sure.
You know, we had the DApp before the, Giveth token invented. So, assume that we don't have any Giveth token. So me as a product owner, I assume that I'm a product owner of the DApp. So I have to increase the usage of the donors from the DApp and also prepare interesting features for the project owners to get, their projects funded well. And, also we need some project owners to bring projects and take care of them and, verify them and, listen to them. So I think if you think about this, even before the current step, we had Trace, and we can think about the failure of the Trace. Why it did not scale, and what was the problem? I think the marketing was a problem, and doesn't have the agile teams around the whole process from beginning to the end. Okay. So if we think like this, we can make the borders much clearer.
Okay, I need to stop this conversation because we are at the top of the hour and there's some other important stuff here. Okay, I need to figure out what to do with all this information because I don't know what we're going to do, to be honest. Giveth Bug Bounty Vault. There's a forum post here. This is from Kai. Firing up the Giveth Bug Bounty Vault, starting with 100K for Giveth bounties, up to a maximum of 300K. All the stuff is in there. There's a Giveth Bug Bounty Committee. Griff, Jim, Moshahab, and Kai will all be on there. They're going to send 100K to our Hats Finance Bug Bounty Vault. And then after a short period, we'll send the subsequent 200,000 give. ETH Barcelona, again, we're over time. Griff put in a payment on Sunday to lock down our bronze sponsorship. The invoice came out to $11,870 after the conversion from euros to dollars, adding in 21% IVA tax, and then discounting it by 10% from our Doing Good membership. I'm going to put up a snapshot after this call, seeing if we actually want to go for this bronze sponsorship and then reimburse Griff for making that out-of-pocket payment. Last thing I have here, free audit from Celium DAO, just a few more days left if you want to fill out that 15-minute survey. And we covered the NRGive token distribution a bit earlier in the call. So I'm sorry, no time left to really get into either of those topics, but they're there, and take some time to read them when you have some time. All right, I'm done. I know there's a fundraising call happening right now, so yeah.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, indeed.
Mitch.
Bye-bye.
Bye.